Welcome back. Your time now is 7:48. Pinpoint weather and traffic are together. Getting a lot of reports in now of flurries arriving in many areas south of Providence, with flurries in Cranston, Warwick, West Warwick, Fall River. Getting some light snow, maybe a little bit of mixing now along the immediate coastline. I think that will be brief. It should change over to snow as we head throughout the morning and early afternoon, maybe mixing back and forth again as we head into the evening and the night. But the weather planner for today, again, we've been seeing this light snow arriving this morning. Winds starting to pick up as we head into the later part of this morning. By 2 o'clock in the afternoon, those temperatures at around the freezing mark. Northeast winds at 20 to 30 miles per hour. So conditions going downhill quickly this afternoon. Poor visibility and the snow starting to accumulate at a quicker pace. By 7 o'clock in the evening, I think we're in an all-out blizzard with whiteout conditions. Very difficult travel. In fact, not recommended. Heavy snow and very strong winds expected during that time. Let's widen out the view here on the satellite and on the radar and show you the leading edge of this winter storm now making its way into southern New England. The center of the storm still well to our south, and it's going to rapidly intensify as it passes very close to Nantucket overnight tonight and tomorrow morning. And not only will it intensify, but the speed of it will slow down, which is why we're expecting maybe a top 3 snowstorm or a top 5 snowstorm for southern New England here from our record books, and that puts the totals up near 2 feet. With the Futurecast here throughout the morning doing a nice job bringing in the snow. By lunchtime, you can still see light to moderate snow at noon, but it should turn fairly quickly heavy as the afternoon goes on. That rain snow line just hugging the coastline for a time, especially again this evening. This is 7 o'clock. 50% of the storm may end up rain over the Cape, but I think they'll really get hit on the Cape during the daytime tomorrow. Meanwhile, for 7 o'clock this evening, Providence, Taunton, Fall River, we are getting snowfall rates of 2 to 3 inches an hour with howling winds, and that'll continue through the overnight. 2 a.m. Some of the strongest winds at this time, and by 7 o'clock in the morning, we're still seeing bands of moderate to at times heavy snow moving through the area before it finally starts to wind down from west to east into the afternoon hours. So we are talking again about some snowfall amounts, ones that we don't typically put up on our weather maps here. I have to think back all the way to blizzard of 2005 to find some totals like this, where we're looking at 2 feet or higher from Providence northward into Woonsocket, Foster down into Coventry. Attleboro could end up with over 2 feet of snow. Along the west and east bays of Rhode Island, you're in that 15 to 24 inch range. So if you live in East Greenwich, Bristol, Warren, Portsmouth, you're expected to be about 1.5 to 2 feet of snow, and lesser amounts along the coast where again the temperatures are borderline here to support snowfall. We do think the intensity of the storm will make it that the snow will win out and you'll get some pretty decent accumulations, most likely a foot or more. Winds with this storm, the other big part of this, it makes it a blizzard not by the amount of snow that we see, but by the combination of the snow and the winds. And our winds, now these are expected sustained winds here, climbing to about 20 miles per hour to 35 by 7 in the evening, and some 45-mile-an-hour winds at midnight. They could be gusting at the coastline over 60 or maybe even 70 miles per hour overnight tonight. So in addition to the heavy weighted snow, you get those strong winds. The combination of those two lead to wind damage. We're expecting limbs and branches to come down, and even though the coast may not get the highest snowfall amounts, you may end up with the most wind damage because that's where our strongest winds will be found. So power outages expected with this storm. You need to be prepared perhaps to be without power for a day or so. With minor coastal flooding, this is not as big of a concern with this storm. I've gotten a lot of emails and inquiries about, are we going to see flooding along our south coast, areas that are really weary after Sandy. And because the winds are from the northeast, you think about the direction that actually pushes the water away from the coastline. So it's not as much of a factor here. Coastal flooding could be a big issue, though, in eastern Massachusetts. Let's take you with your 7-day Futurecast hour by hour through those snowfall accumulations. So by lunchtime, only about an inch. So it really starts to accumulate in the afternoon and evening, up to 7 inches by 8 o'clock, a foot by midnight, and we're talking about totals again that we haven't seen for quite a while. We saw a foot of snow just over it 2 winters ago, and I think we'll top that for today. We can always get the latest information on our website, WPRI.com, from any device.